Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Larry Banks. So, I want to make this video today because it's been a lot been going on with me, and I wanted to share my story with you. What's been going on with me? I have wrote down some things, and I hope that I can be able to explain. But it says that I noticed last year in 2018, everything didn't go right for me. I gotta put my glasses on. You can't see my face, but I'm gonna do okay. It said, I noticed last year in 2018, everything didn't go right for me. I noticed that I was constantly getting rejected by so many people. I noticed that even though the people who I used to deal with, used to be friends with, I couldn't deal with them anymore. And it was so horrible. And the only people who I can deal with was my mom and some of my close family members. And I noticed that it was hard for me to get around because my mother and a close family member was the only one that can take me around just a little bit. It was bad because we didn't have an Uber. It was bad, and I noticed that it was so bad that every time I talked to someone and we trade numbers, we talk good one day, and the next day they will stop communicating with me. And I noticed there were people that I talked to one day and we had a great conversation, and all of a sudden that you know we we talk and everything else, and they said that they're gonna call me back because their mom is calling them or their grandmother or whatever is calling them, and they never return my calls. And and it was just crazy. And I ended up getting to a point where I had to text them, lose my number, and they got mad at me saying why and okay, and they pretty much blamed me for the situation, and they would leave me alone. And I didn't understand why this was happening to me, and this happened over and over again, where I was scared to give out my numbers, and I was scared to deal with people. At first I thought they was mostly ghosting me and everything else, but I felt like it was more like a spirit doing it, like maybe God doing this or maybe the devil doing this. I don't know, but I kept praying, and I felt like I was the only one going through this. And I kept praying to God, and I kept asking him, why is this happening to me? And I noticed that he told me that he was trying to mold me. He was trying to change me to something better. And I was trying to make things uncomfortable. He was trying to make things uncomfortable so he can try to push me out of my comfort zone. So later on, it was so bad, every situation was so bad. I had so many memories that, you know, what I used to do, I couldn't go on dates anymore. I couldn't really find somebody I can hang out and have experience no more because so many people, all they want to do is hook up and jump in folks' bedrooms and sleep around because the hookup culture was bad. And it was so bad where I was crying and I couldn't get much sleep at night, almost every night, every night. And I remember it was so bad that I found out that I had depression. And it was so horrible that my mood changed from happy to sad. And it was so bad that I had to get a therapist. And I had to constantly call different crisis, different lines, numbers to talk to, because some of them didn't work out and some of them did help me out. And I was going through a lot. And I thank God that I did because it helped me out a whole lot. And I noticed that even though that my therapist was telling me, saying, look, it's time, she gave me instructions what to do and everything else, and we try to work around the situation. So later I noticed that it was so bad that I had thoughts of suicide, that um ignore the situation. I tried to ignore those thoughts, and I tried to find different situation to try to fight it. But it just kept getting worse every time I kept having the problem, and it made it worse for me to deal with those thoughts of suicide. And I remember the nights I couldn't sleep, and I kept praying to God, asking Him that I wanted to end my life because of what I was going through. But I didn't have the courage to do it. I didn't have the guts to do it. And I noticed that God used someone, and He used different things supposed to me when I was alone and it was quiet. And He sent someone to me to say, "Don't you ever give up. God has a plan for you." And it just, and He has a good one for me, where He has a future. He has He has hope for me. And I remember I had a gay friend who was like a father to me in the past, and he was suffering from depression, and of course he had HIV, but of course he was just a father to me. He was a good person I used to turn to for about my when I was going through things, and the people who I thought I could trust turn excuse me, the people who thought he can trust and who he can associate with, they pretty much used him to get him insurance policy. And he told me that he didn't. I tried to encourage him to not give up, but I couldn't save him. He got to the point where he stopped taking his meds. He pretty much just gave up, and it hurt me. But that situation made me motivate me enough to not give up. And it was hard, but I did what all I could do to just not give up and just keep trying. And it made me stronger. And it made me go through 2018, and now I'm still here, alive in 2019. Thank God for that. So later, I remember in Leviticus 2013. Okay, I'm sorry. um, But during those rough times, I kept asking God, was it okay for me to be gay? Because I knew I was gay since I found out when I was 15 years old. And I knew I liked women, but I wasn't attracted to them. And I was attracted to men. And I tried to talk to women and I tried to get in a relationship with them, but it didn't work out for me. So I stuck with talking with men, and I've been through a relationship with men. And I remember I never asked my question. God never asked my question, but He did tell me that I need to stop watching porn and I need to stop sleeping around with different people until I get married with the right person. And I agree with that, because you want to wait till yourself. It's not easy waiting for that right person to come, but it just, like you said, that's what God wants us to do. But I remember in Leviticus 2013 it says homosexuality is abomination. When you, it's just like the same way with a woman sleeping with a man, and they think that's they should be put to death and everything else. And they say that if God hates something, and because they say that means He hates something, that's abomination, that's disgusting. And they say if God hates something, is a sin. But how can I change? Excuse me. How can I change? How can I change to and be attracted to a woman if I'm attracted to a man, not a woman? It don't make sense. And I don't understand it, but I remember Matthew 19:26 says that Jesus looked at them and said, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. So it may seem like it's impossible for me. Maybe one day it may be. But I seen how preachers went with a woman and they got married with them, and they turn around, they start cheating on their women, going with other men's. But I just don't want to get with someone. I refuse to be with someone that I'm not attracted to. Um, that is just not for me. I just don't want that. I refuse to get with someone to try to impress someone. I don't have time for that. Even with the Lord, I just want to get with somebody I know that I'm attracted to, I like, and know who I love and everything else. That's what I want. But I noticed that it was hard for me to find good friends, and I kept telling God that I don't have no friends. And I remember I remember I watched Devon Franklin's Making Good's husband, um, to tell me that God will help me find good friends that is right for me. I believe maybe that was Holy Spirit using him, but but He used him to let it says someone is out there that's having problems finding friends. They going through a lot. I want you to know that God is going to help you find you a good friend. There's good people that's going to be around you. And I remember God told me to be around people who are like-minded, who have the same interests as me, who can lift me up, who motivates me, and who can be successful. And it was hard for me to find those people around where I live because it was hard for me to get around. And then plus it was just a lot of people, when I did find some, they just didn't have time for me. It was really hard for me to find it. But I think right now, just I watched this video that really upset me the most, and it was like was spiritual. So he's on YouTube. The video is called "Why You Have Zero Friends and Don't Fit In." And when I watched it, it made a whole lot of sense why I was going through what I was going through, because God wanted me to be by myself so I can focus on what I need to do and what He want me to do. And he felt like that was distracting, have a lot of friends, but it later made me depressed. It made me have thoughts of suicide because he believed, that person in the video made me he said he believed that I shouldn't have friends. I deserve to be alone, since friends will cause drama and confusion and mess. But he thought that I need a lot of, but I felt like that I don't need a lot of friends. But I felt like, let's see. I'm sorry, that's my shirt. But I'm sorry, but I feel like that I'm not looking for a lot of friends. I mean, I'm just looking for maybe a small amount of friends, maybe 3 or 4. As long as you have maybe 1, 2, or 3, that's good for you, that's right for you, that can take you places and help you get around and help you to, just just good people that can help you draw you close to God. That's all I need. And it's sad that you can't even find at least 1 or 2 of them. It's sad that people, they deserve that, people think that they shouldn't be alone. Then that's just the case. Then why Jesus chose his disciples, and he called them his best friends. And then the same thing go for Adam and Eve. Adam, God and put Adam by himself in the Garden of Eden. He made Eve as well. So it's different things that showed in the Bible that people did have good people that was around them and friends. It's nothing wrong, but God don't want you to be around bad friends. But I don't know what he's up to right now. I mean, it's just a lot on me. But um, if you like this video, click the like button, leave a comment, subscribe today, and share this video. And this video, it maybe is for someone. That's why I decided to do this video, because there's someone out there that's going through problems where they have been trying to find good friends, trying to find, a way to, when they're going through problems with depression, they're going through problems where they feel alone and they feel isolated, or they feel like thinking about giving up. Now, once you don't ever give up, because you're not alone. I'm going through this as well, and it's hard, but I don't want you to give up. Just no matter what you're going through, maybe God will make a way for you, and if it not, just keep moving, just keep pushing. That's all I want to say. Holla.